Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're diving into something super foundational, but honestly, really fascinating. We're breaking down the whole concept of discovery, pulling directly from Dr. Reena Pagare's brilliant framework, Introduction to Research. Now, this is specifically designed for students who want to jump into research but feel like they literally don't know the first thing about it. If that's you, and you're feeling a bit intimidated, don't worry at all. You are in the exact right place. We're going to completely demystify research today. And hey, this isn't going to be some dry, boring lecture. Think of this as a highly interactive conversation where we break down these big, complex ideas into simple, everyday concepts.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever spent hours, and I mean hours, putting together a massive 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle? Just pause and picture it sitting on your living room table. You're snapping pieces in, the picture's finally coming together, and you're getting super excited because you're almost done. But suddenly, you look closely and realize something awful, like 5 pieces are just completely missing. Take a second and just feel that specific sinking frustration. It's so disappointing, right? Because without those final pieces, the beautiful picture just isn't complete. Well, believe it or not, that exact feeling is actually the absolute perfect entry point into understanding how the entire scientific process works.
To get us there, we've got a really clear roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the missing puzzle pieces, then map out your research journey, dive into the science of evidence, and finally, look at topics versus research objectives. So let's just start right at the beginning with Section 1, the missing puzzle pieces. What exactly is research?
The crucial point here is that science works exactly like that jigsaw puzzle we just talked about. All of humanity's current knowledge, all our incredible discoveries, the crazy inventions, millions of published papers, that is the assembled part of the puzzle. But there are still all these mysteries out there that nobody understands yet, problems nobody has solved. In the academic world, those missing pieces actually have a formal name. They're called the research gap, and the person who spends their time searching for those exact missing pieces, that is a researcher. Basically, that's going to be you. Whether you're doing an undergrad project, a master's thesis, or even a PhD, you're not trying to build an entirely new puzzle from scratch. You're just trying to find those specific missing pieces to complete the picture we already have.
And this aligns perfectly with how researchers Redman and Mori formally defined the concept back in the day. They called it a systematized effort to gain new knowledge. I absolutely love that word systematized because it tells us straight up that research isn't just making a random guess. It's a highly structured, deliberate process that you use to uncover new knowledge and literally snap that final puzzle piece right into place. Which brings us smoothly to Section 2, mapping your research journey and finding your direction. And this brilliantly illustrates our next mental model. Think about planning an epic road trip with your friends, let's say from Pune to Delhi. What's the literal first thing you do? You pull out your phone and open Google Maps, right? But the app doesn't just magically start driving the car for you. It asks you a really vital question. Where do you want to go? Because without a destination, you simply cannot pick a route. Well, research works the exact same way. Your destination is your research objective. If you don't know exactly where you're trying to end up, you cannot choose your route. And in academic terms, that route is your methodology. So whether your route involves sending out a bunch of surveys, running lab experiments, or building a complex machine learning model, you absolutely have to lock in that destination first. Now, as we all know, no road trip goes perfectly smoothly. You might hit heavy traffic, a sudden rainstorm, or maybe that one friend insists on taking a shortcut that just gets you totally lost. Well, research definitely has obstacles too. Your data might be messy, your big experiment might completely fail, or your results might just totally surprise you. But does a true researcher just pull the car over and give up? No way. They just recalculate the route. They find another path until they successfully hit that destination, which ultimately becomes their final published findings. All right, let's head in to Section 3, the science of evidence, and uncover exactly why researchers do not guess. Let's build on this with another scenario we all know. Think about the last time you walked into a clinic and told the doctor, "Hey, I have a fever." Do they just grab a random bottle of pills and hand it to you? Of course not. First, they identify the problem by asking you specific questions. Then, they study your medical history, collect data through blood tests or maybe x-rays, they analyze those results, and only then do they draw a conclusion and actually prescribe medicine. A researcher strictly follows these exact same 5 steps. Just like doctors, researchers never, ever rely on assumptions. Every single decision they make, every conclusion they draw has to be firmly rooted in concrete evidence. That is the whole core of the scientific process. With those fundamentals locked in, let's jump to Section 4, topics versus research objectives, and actually put all this theory into practice. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the crucial difference it shows. It solves this massive trap that so many students fall into, confusing the title of their paper with the actual objectives of their work. Take a look on the left, early prediction of diabetes using AI. Now, that is a fantastic research topic. It's the broad subject area. But on the right, the research objective, that answers a much sharper, action-oriented question. What exactly are you trying to achieve to solve this problem? I mean, we already know how to diagnose diabetes in a clinic. The missing puzzle piece here is how to detect it much, much earlier using everyday technology, like a smartwatch.
So to get to that solution, your objectives basically act as step-by-step milestones. First, you might identify the major risk factors, like age or BMI. Second, you study the limitations of the current prediction methods we have. Third, you actually sit down and develop your new AI or machine learning model. And fourth, you evaluate its accuracy against the old methods. Do you see how that flow works? By systematically hitting these 4 milestones, you move from just understanding the problem to definitively proving that your new solution actually works better. Your objectives act as that clear roadmap guiding you straight to the finish line.
All right, let's do a really quick interactive review to make sure these concepts are totally locked in. I want you to think back to our jigsaw puzzle analogy from the very beginning. What exactly do those missing pieces represent?
Yep, that's right. They represent the research gap. Those are the specific, lingering questions that literally nobody in the world has answered yet. Okay, next question. Let's keep the energy up. In our road trip analogy, using Google Maps, what represents your research objective?
Spot on. It's the destination, because if you don't plug that final destination into the app, your journey simply cannot begin. You have to know where you're going.
And for our final review question to really bring this all home, why does a doctor order blood tests and x-rays before handing you a prescription? Exactly right, because decisions absolutely must be based on evidence. Just like a great doctor, a great researcher never, ever relies on assumptions, guesses, or shortcuts.
So, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, I want you to permanently plant these 3 vivid mental models right in your mind. The jigsaw puzzle, which constantly reminds us to look for that research gap. The Google map, reminding us that our objectives are our destination and the methodology is our chosen route. And the doctor's diagnosis, which reminds us that our entire process has to be driven by strict, undeniable evidence. These 3 models, which Dr. Pagare brilliantly highlighted, are the absolute bedrock of understanding research. Every single great research journey out there begins with one simple, incredibly powerful question: why? So look around you. What missing puzzle pieces are you going to be the one to finally find? Stay curious, everyone, and we will catch you in the next explainer.